Welcome to Think, React, Lead, bringing you insights and strategies for thinking as an executive, reacting like a soldier, and leading in all aspects of your life. Here's your host, executive coach and leadership speaker, Dom Fawcett.
Welcome to the Think, React, Lead podcast, where you will be provided insights when thinking as an executive, reacting like a soldier, and leading in various aspects of your career and personal life. I am your host, Dom Fawcett, and today we are going to discuss small business blues. Why are we bringing this up? I was talking to a client last week, and what I asked them to do was the week prior to send me an email with some of the things that she is dealing with as a CEO. Has less than 50 employees, which anybody who's had one employee knows that, that's still a lot. It's still an undertaking all its own. And before I go further, many of us have been blessed with the opportunity to own a business. What I have found is most business owners, one of two things happens. Either they forgot what it was like in the corporate world and how to manage teams, or they just don't have the experience in leading people from a corporate standpoint. Not saying that you have to have corporate experience to have a successful or build a successful team. But in my experience with 14 years in the corporate world, I have learned a lot with different companies I've worked for on what to do and what not to do as a leader, as I've now close to a year into my own practice, my own business. So she sent me a text message and she just said, look, here are some things going on. And I said, hey, just send me an email. And she sent me a long list of things that are going on, but some of them, she has issues with management. She said she gets negative comments from management, for simple things like giving employee birthday cards, which to me is extremely important because your staff, your employees want validation, want to know that they actually matter. They talk about employees responding negatively to basically inputting their time. And in certain states, you have to pay your employees, whether or not they put in their time. She said she feels as though that there's no loyalty built within the company. And some other things, employees complaining, some employees not getting along. And these are not young people. These are, people in their mid-20s and above, probably too old to be not getting along, if you will. But I asked her, I said, what have you done to show your employees what they're doing right or to validate them? And she thought about it. And she said, well, we do a couple things here and there. I refer a lot to my K-9 experience in the military. I was K-9 in the Air Force. And one thing I learned during K-9 training is a dog, your K-9, your partner will do what you want it to do once you've proven your loyalty as the leader to the mission. So I said, what mission statements, what vision statements, what do you have in place that everybody in the company can revert back to when things aren't going their way? And she didn't have one. I helped her write one out, but it does take time to implement that, right? It starts with the leader and then works its way down. And then I said, are you being their mother or are you the CEO? And she thought about it. She said, you know what? I've been very nice over the last few years and been kind of mothering. And I said, well, you need to establish yourself as the CEO and not treat everybody the same, right? When you do well, you get well. And with a staff of 50 and below, it's easy to kind of fall into the ma and pa approach to leadership. But if you're trying to grow a business, is that the right way of influencing? And it could be, but in this instance, it wasn't the way to go about it. See, leadership is not title, position, power, stature. It's influence, nothing more, nothing less. And with one's influence, we have to know as leaders where it is that we influence and how we're influencing others. The question I asked her was, what responsibilities are you giving to your leadership? So your managers, your supervisors. And she said, slowly but surely, she's giving them things here and there. But then I asked, well, are you micromanaging, or have you given them the tools to be successful and then just let them work it out? She said, well, I oversee everything. Well, that tells your staff that you don't trust them. Now, I ask you listeners, do you have staff that you don't trust? And why not? Why don't you trust them? If you truly don't trust them and you've trained them, then maybe they need to be replaced. But if you haven't trained them, or you haven't asked them what they want to have success or create success within their role, you're never going to get the results that you want. And this is why I say this. A lot of times as leaders, we do this thing where we don't even think about what's best for the employee. We think what we know is best. And based off our experience, hey, do this A, B, and C, as opposed to just asking the employee, hey, I need you, or I'm looking to grow this department. You are one of the more tenured employees, or you're one of the leaders in this department. You're one of the people of influence in this department. And the reason you're saying that is because you're adding value. Now, they don't have to be
You've been listening to Think, React, Lead. To connect with your authentic purpose, contact Dom at www.thinkreactlead.com.